Good morning. Truth Disclosure 369 in the house once again. Got my boy Midnight the Battle Cat in the background, blended in on the couch behind me. Oh, I just wanted to get on here today and share some things. Um, Everyone who may come across this video, I greet you in the universal words of peace. Hope everyone is doing well despite a lot of the negativity in the air, the inner um, conflicts that one may be going through, outer. Pray you be blessed to overcome it all. Um, just wanted to get on here. It's been a wild couple of weeks, and it seems like no end in sight. It's amazing how so far detached from reality so many people are, and yet these are the same people. In a lot of cases, these be the same people offering you guidance. That's what I don't. And I'm gonna be honestly personal with it. I do not. I don't take that kindly because, from my standpoint, I see, and this is my opinion. I see people who put on their pants, their drawers, all their stuff just like the next person, but yet who may politically be involved or because of a title, because of affiliations to institutions or whatever, they can just do certain things, say certain things, and no matter what the impact or consequences may be toward the whole, they only thinking about their own concerns and those that maybe resonate with them, which may be a nice little number, but when you think of the whole, it's nowhere near. And it's like that all around the board, but not to get too far off from the point I'm making. I see a bunch of people literally uh, destroying this country right in front of everybody's faces. And I'm pretty sure it can be seen by citizens in other nations when they think about it on their own person in their own area where they live at. I see people literally working night and day, destroying a lot of stuff around us, and people literally um, taking it and running with it. Not only taking it and running with it, but taking it and running with it to a point where you're condemning and literally shutting down anyone else, trying to shut down anyone else's argument, anyone else's opinion. And it's like, that is so freaking sad. It's ridiculous. I mean, people in their right mind understand why this country is in what it is, in everything that's happening overseas. But it's like it's too many people caught up on all these biased um, talking points that even some people don't even want to attempt to try and at least try and get a second opinion, or so you just condemn everybody else with you and those who think like you to all of this mischief, and it's ridiculous. That's how I see it. Now it's no point in even continuing to grill against this government, because this government is already shown itself to have a hidden hand. And for people to sit here and continue to act like that's not happening, that's like a disservice not only to yourself and your family and your next generation coming behind you. It's a disservice to everybody else. Everybody else who's free will getting kicked around and treated like they don't have a say so when they are thinking about the same thing about themselves, their family, those around them, and you can't even have a legitimate conversation about people or a debate without all of it going crazy. And then, of course, it always gets politically or racially charged. And it's like what is that actually accomplishing in the face of what we are facing as a country, as a planet? I don't get it. I mean, I get it, but you have to sit there and just I don't know. But before I get into what I was going to talk about, I just like to. It's a horrible thing that has happened in Turkey and Syria. Um, just people, doing their thing, and then all of a sudden, this devastating tragic situation. There's so much one be wanting to do. There's so much you can only do, and I pray that everything will work out for those affected. It's sad to see that even in that, the politics rears its ugly head in the onsides of a tragedy and mass loss of life like it is, that they won't even kind of tone it down even in that and come to a humanitarian agreement. And that's just with Syria. All the rhetoric that goes around with Syria and all this other stuff, which a lot of it is distortion and a lot of it is mistruths, propaganda. But you hear most of the talk about Turkey, but you barely hear anything about Syria and those people. I even seen something where they was talking about Syria wasn't even getting the proper help. It was like they was all of the coverage and everything was and it's sad. And mind you, these are people, these are institutions, these are governments who are sitting up saying one thing and purporting one way with certain people, how to act and act a certain way with certain people and then with others you treat with impunity, even at a time of crisis like that, and then you wonder when stuff comes back around and stuff, and that's the dangerous part about that. A lot of people don't believe or think that karma is an actual ingredient in life, but that's something that should be looked at like, why the fuck we ain't doing stuff like that? But even these countries that supposed, because it's all about helping, right? It's all about trying to come to aid in the global aspect. But it's like here in this country, people are too far gone in the rhetoric, in the dividing lines, the lines that have been drawn in the sand, the purposely manipulated arguments that have been taken and blown to a proportion where it has lost its focus from the original argument and is being used to literally gaslight and stir people up in their emotions and everything else to a point where you get no understanding. And it's like, this is sad. This is not the time for that. With everything that's going on, you need people who calmly thinking, calmly could problem solve, critical thinking, all that type of stuff in this time in the period of time we're going through. And it's like that's what's being destroyed. It's almost like, and people I've heard a couple more people say the same thing. It's almost like what is happening is people. It's like it's really a push for everybody to kill one another, literally. Everything that's being discussed, everything that is being pushed, and the emotions that's being stirred up, and the arguments and the debates and the back and forth. It's almost like they're pushing everybody to kill one another. Literally, either kill yourself or kill one another. While we sit back and continue to monitor, and then when certain stuff hit the fan, then we out of here, and y'all are on your own. And I'm gonna get to that before I end, but that's basically what it seems like. It's sad, and I like to send nothing but peace and love and prayers to everyone affected, Turkey, and anywhere else that's still dealing with the remnants of calamities. And in some aspects, there's some calamities that have happened, in the near past, and they're still dealing with that. So I just like to send that out to all those affected, all those families affected, whether the families are there in that region or they're somewhere else worried about people over there, and just like to send my peace and love and heart. And now I just like want to get into something because of all this madness that we're dealing with. Go to just wanted to go to something real quick because in this world we're living in, have to understand that the first thing in any conflict is the death of truth. Whether people want to accept it or not, that is the reality of it. And the thing that it seems to be prevalent is that you always have these so-called leaders and so-called representatives of the people making choices, doing things, carrying out things that maybe in the long run will cause harm. Just like this conflict in Ukraine, well, that's not causing harm, but yet you got people, you got prices up everywhere. You got people literally being told to manage their heating systems and cooling systems. People literally are going without because of what has been caused. And then you have governments and everything doing stuff in your supposed name. That right there, I don't have no respect for that, because in these lies, everything that's being done from the EU to this country to any other country, it could be fucking China. Anything that's being done is not being done because of the majority of the damn people want that shit to be done. It's being done because those who are supposedly in power, who have been given the power by people who elected they grimy behinds, shady behinds into these positions or whatever. They do stuff and they do it slick and they do it shady like, and they do it and then they impose everybody else in, and they lump everybody else into it. Like, this is why we do shit. This is why this was done. This is why we must do this, because we must stand together. No, don't put me into it. That's me personally speaking. Don't put me into that shit. I don't agree with nothing this garbage ass government is doing. Now, we know last year that pipeline in the Baltics over there in Europe, which supplies a lot of the which was supplying a lot of the energy resources that was needed for Europe, and after, all these so-called threats and all that stuff, then all of a sudden the pipeline got destroyed, and it's like all hell broke loose with those that need that particular energy, those resources from that pipeline, which stupidly has been done by even the European countries that put their own people in their harm's way because of other people's egos and shit like that, and that's sad. But this hit the airwaves yesterday. Of course, it's going to always be, there's no truth to it. It's false. It's already false. That's the only thing you're going to hear. That's not true. Even though you have footage of people in this government saying they were going to take care of it, or it would be taken care of. So you got this right here. Russia blames U.S. for Nord Stream blast, threatens consequences. And this come out yesterday. And this is Russia blamed the U.S. for explosions that damaged the Nord Stream pipelines and warned of a response from Moscow after an American investigative journalist published an article alleging the Biden administration had attacked the gas transportation network. And our assumption was that U.S. and several NATO allies were involved in this disgusting crime. So now you're looking at, infrastructure that belongs to another country, another nuclear powered, nuclear capable country, war mongering country, from what is happening right now in the present. And when you look at stuff like this, it's like, what could be the next phase? Especially when you're hearing about the West led by this country, um, stopping any type of peace initiatives between Ukraine and Russia in the past, including one of the Israeli prime minister, the past prime minister that just lost the re-election, quoted in an article and in footage saying that he stepped up. He was trying to help cement a peace agreement, but the United States didn't allow it. They didn't want it. They blocked it. And and instead of trying to sue for peace and work toward a peaceful resolution, so you don't have people dying. Oh yeah, and also there has been some leakage on the true numbers of what's been going on, which of course have been lies when you look at it compared to what we've been getting. But according to um, the real numbers of what's going on over there, Ukraine has been getting tore up. But you won't hear that. You won't hear that over here. And it's like, y'all putting everybody in fucking danger because of motherfuckers and their egos, fake politicians and fake warmongers who are sitting up here really profiting off of a lot of this stuff, man. And you would literally push motherfuckers to the brink to try and and it's gonna lead up to what I'm gonna bring at the close of my little rant. But you would literally push everybody to the brink of oblivion just so you can keep your portfolios cool, or so you can keep your supposed status in the world, which I don't understand how you can even do that. Everybody knows how corrupt and full of shit America is. A lot of people just fuck with America because they're scared of the consequences of what America might do. A lot of these lapdog countries that sit up and vouch for everything, knowing that shit wrong. It's sad, man. And people talk all this crap about the founding fathers and all this other stuff. Do you really think a lot of these people would be okay with this shit if they were still around today? Do you really think that a lot of this stuff that this government is doing or has fallen into over the years, you really think they would be supporting any of this shit? Or do you think they would be like the ones that would be kind of like Paul Revere or the Minutemen and all them stepping up and being like, look, we can't, oh, hell no, especially when it comes to the taxation part. Do you really think the supposed forefathers, the founders of this nation, those in the that come up in the ranks in this, as far as in the political arenas back in the early days, do you really think they would be looking at this stuff and agreeing with it? I don't think they would. No matter how many slaves they may have owned or other negative stuff, I don't think they would have agreed with this. And a lot of this stuff they tell about a lot of these people, they don't tell the whole story. You don't know their affiliations, their life. You don't know what they really. You had some people who really didn't want central banks, but yet we got them. Got a lot of stuff. So you have a country that now the thing is this trying to see who is the name of, oh yeah, this report was by a man named Seymour Hersh, and according to, when you look him up, he's a respected journalist. So either he's a respected journalist that decided to lie on America, or there could be some credibility to it. Who's to say? But the reality of it is, it happened. if the truth comes out that the United States is responsible for that, then what you think gonna happen? And what does that open up far as stuff going on in this country? And the sad thing about it, this country has kind of avoided being hit by certain things, which is a blessing because you don't want to see suffering or nothing going on. But it's like the more they do shit, the more they open it up for you can't even go overseas and travel hardly without people getting murdered and you never know what the reason may be. Like people going on overseas trips now, being it's bad news coming back for people just want to enjoy themselves. But they go over these trips and they aren't American. Who's to say that maybe the crimes that were happening and a lot of these people that are being murdered or killed over in these other countries just visiting or touring or having a vacation, maybe because it's these people over there that or radicals amongst them or zealots that just see America as a fucking scumbag country with scumbags all around it. They support a lot of this shit that their so-called leaders put out here. And that's sad, man, because you get yourself caught up in a matrix type thing because of the BS that this government is doing. So now you have this out here, and I'm gonna go to this one. And you also have this one, which is, it's like and it won't let me go to the article, but just the title in itself, that's all this need to be shown. China says U.S. should return debris from balloon it shot down. And of course, this just happened over past week, which to me is like, it's really embarrassing to see how certain things could be used, and it just gaslights people, and it gaslights them in the wrong fucking manner. Ever since that happened, my whole thing was like, look, they taking this, they blowing this shit up, because if it really mattered in a post 9/11 world, why would that have been allowed to even get, within a range of United States borders on either side? I mean, in a post 9/11 world, we know what happened around 9/11, everything that transpired after it, everything that led up to it, supposedly, and everything that came after it, as far as the response in aviation policies, airport policies, homeland security, and all that. Matter of fact, homeland security was established after that. So my thing is like, how would you not know that? Okay, so let's say if this was leading up to another incident like that, then y'all literally got caught with y'all pants down. Literally, y'all literally got. So it's like, if they really gave a damn, if you got, these balloons and all this stuff are out here. If you could know about other shit, you could know about what ISIS commander is in a building in a remote desert area in a cliff in Syria somewhere, or Taliban in Afghanistan, or other stuff that you were seeing, like, how the fuck they know that? Oh, because they got technology and all that stuff. But you could know all these things, but you could not know that a balloon is not only entering into sovereign territory, which would be U.S., but not only enter into, but actually go all the way into territory where there was water, because it must start over water first. Then you reach land. Then not only that, it constantly kept moving across land until they decided to went across the whole country, until now, when we get to the East Coast, when we get to Atlantic, then we shoot the thing down, which made no sense. I mean, me personally, it makes no sense. It literally makes no sense. especially in all of the homeland security post 9/11 world. And now, being that you had this argument back and forth between China and you know, oh, that wasn't a spy plane, that was a weather, and you had no business shooting it down, and now we want our stuff. And it's like, damn, how much can the United States hold up? I mean, you got two major powers on the scene, who's who seem like they hungry, and you see this. It used to be a major power, I guess. I don't see none of that. You can't be that, and you going through the people going through what they're going through in the country. You know, you got all this going on, and people who live in here are going through so much, the struggles and all this stuff. You got episodes from people going in about the coming have a little brain fart, but you got people going in about the housing situation, you know, whether it's from the foreclosures, evictions, or however that goes. You got still got the health thing going on, which a lot of it is now becoming more apparent to people that they've been lying about that, and that's has to be led back to and give props to where that come in from the videos from Project Veritas, which now you have some people now speaking up that are in Congress, because I remember here some representatives, they Republican representatives here, which will automatically get them shot down by people who one track mind thinking, I don't really care about their representation as being Republican Party because I don't trust either one of them parties. They're not shit, and I stand on that. But when you speak truth and you speak out on things that need to be spoken of and not hide that shit, then it don't matter whether you're a Democrat or a Republican or independent or a Whig or whoever the hell you are, or as you claim you represent, then I will agree and I will stand with that, because they at least they speaking out on it, and they speaking out on that Pfizer mess and all the lies and all this stuff. So you got all that going on. You got all this stuff going on. You literally still keep robbing from people and sending money overseas, sending tools and resources and stuff, while everybody here complaining about prices and stuff, while the actual so-called leadership is saying that there is nothing going on, everything is straight. Banks are giving strength, are straight, the economy is straight, but yet everybody around is seeing something totally different. And even the experts, so-called experts in these fields, are saying something totally different from that speech the other day. Or I don't even look at that shit. I don't care who it is. The State of the Union. The State of the Union is in the garbage can. I mean, don't matter who the hell get up there and talks that crap. But you got all that going on, and then you got China and Russia now accusing this country, Russia accusing this country of destroying that pipeline, which has cost a lot in not only resources, but also in Europe over there, the people that was getting their resources from that, the stuff they had to go through because their own countries are too scared to say, come on, y'all going too far, or too scared to admit that their leaders, their so-called, that's why them people over there are cutting up. They're still cutting up in France. People in Germany don't give a damn about a lot of that shit that's going on. They want a change. They don't want to continue to be brought in. But over here, like everybody on their side of the fence, and it is sad because all of it is being procured by one source. And it's this lying system, this government that continues to do this shit. And no matter how many people may come out and say one thing, you still got the full force of the executive, legislative, and judicial branches sitting up here trying to cakewalk and act like ain't nothing going on around here, which is pitiful, pathetic, and it's an embarrassment in my book. So you got all these countries going at it now with this country, and I don't see how this country could even stand in some stuff like that. Oh, the technology here may be advanced, especially the shit that they don't tell everybody about. But what does that matter when you dealing with other countries who got the same shit or something different that you don't know about, or even that people don't know nothing about, and you will literally wipe each other off the map because of what all this egotism and all this crap, people getting over on their own citizens, trying to push um, these agendas that are destroying everything, destroying the planet. Don't get it. And the sad thing about it, when you go back to this one, they make it seem like this shit right here, the first thing, the story about the balloon, and then everybody will talk about, oh, Trump had balloons. So, man, me personally, I'm so sick of this damn Trump did this, and then the Trump people claiming Biden and all these folks is full of shit. I look at it like this: Trump's still pushing for Pfizer for people to get Pfizer. He ain't saying nothing about Pfizer stock. He's still invested in that shit. He still want people to get shots. And these folks constantly coming out saying this shit unsafe. So that should tell everybody how the fuck where he at. Yes, there's a such thing as controlled opposition. I give Trump credit what credit due. He do speak on shit that affects everybody. But come on, man. The first thing people start doing, hey, it's happening in Trump administration. Why they ain't shoot that one down and all this other stuff. But then you go a step further and you can look at it like this. This was 3 years ago. I mean, damn. Pentagon tested mass surveillance balloons across the U.S. Probably was gearing up for everything that started happening after 2019. Have a good layout on the logistics. Have a good layout on everything. Where where people gather or this that. You never know. You never know. That's how I look at it. You never know because we're dealing with liars, we're dealing with cheaters, we're dealing with thieves in government and these institutions. So you never know what the reality or the probability of insidious shit was going on, even in surveilling the population. You never know. They can come out and say all day, this is just a training exercise. I don't give a fuck what they say. I won't believe it. And it's crazy that people going off ham and talking all this stuff. Man, China is full of shit. We should have shot that shit down and need to go to war and all that stuff. Like, people don't understand what they put out into the universe, man. They might not want what that shit has to offer back, man. Especially when it's deceit that when it's born out of deceit in the first place. And that's all I see, man. So it's sad. What was the other one? So we're dealing with a lot of this crazy stuff, and it's sad, man. It is. It really. Sometimes you have to just stop and try and regroup to get a better grasp on the mental toll that this takes. And I think that's why a lot of people are clocking and doing a lot of stuff because they clocking out because it's almost like these motherfuckers putting people in a hopeless situation. If you are of a certain class, group, or whatever, because now your struggles are made even worse. And then those who haven't been accustomed to struggle like that, now they're being welcome. Now they're having to associate themselves with a type of struggle that they normally would not have experienced. So it's like everybody's feeling this. I mean, this is crazy. You got liars, hypocrites. That's like all this stuff all rolled into one in this country. It's like people are caught up on their side. You have people over here that literally will want to take people's freedoms away just so they can appease uh, this garbage institution that we call our fake government. Because all I say is it fake. They are fake. They're not pushing what is benefiting the people of this country, no matter how much they open their rotten mouths to let all that filth fly out, and then appease and tickle the ears of so many who may want to hear people talk about taking people's pensions or taking Medicare or taking this, or those who want to hear raising the taxes so that we could have a new program. It's all a game, man. It's sad that this shit has to be experienced by so many people, especially people who just want to live, who just want to live in peace, who just want to be respected, and at the same time respect others, and have a sensible, common sense, practical way of living without all of this nonsense every day. I mean, like I said, I can't count a day in my life in history where you literally had like you can't even say a year, but literally had a month with no conflict, no desperation, no tragedies, no mess that happened in your neighborhoods and your states. Not in my years of living, I can't remember that. The only time I can remember when it was all fun and games and joy, I guess when I was a child, when everybody's a child and you have no clue on all this stuff that's going on or what your parents are dealing with. This time period, you just in a child state. It's fun. And back then, as a kid, it was to me better than it is now. But it's sad. It is sad. So back to this, Pentagon testing. So back in 2019, it came out with this article, and it says the U.S. military is conducting wide-range surveillance tests across 6 Midwest states. Using experimental high-altitude balloons, documents filed with the federal FCC reveal. So I guess they can twist it the way they want to, what they were really doing with it. It's funny how they keep mentioning balloons now, and somebody brought that up. I had to really resonate on that because these were the main tools that always be involved in UFO incidents. Always a balloon, Roswell balloon. It's crazy, but it's sad the way we're doing. And I look at it as a lot of it is being done to ourselves because we won't allow ourselves to think clearly without all of the pushing. You got to think like this, or you got to see it from this way, and it's not cool. And it was another thing I wanted to now. Oh yeah, this is it. Now this is the guy who and I knew this was probably going to happen. It's like ever since that Pfizer incident, and for some reason, they always. Now I don't know this man's political affiliation. I don't know if he's right. I don't know if he's left, conservative, liberal, neocon, neo-lib. I don't know none of that. All I know is that the shit that he exposes has to do with people, period. Has to do with government lying, has to do with institutions lying, has to do with covering up stuff, and he exposes it. So whoever it is, whatever side of the fence on, I don't give a fuck. Why are you doing that? And that should be a blessing to everybody to understand. Look, it's more to this shit than people been thinking. Shouldn't have to wait till the last minute, then all of a sudden motherfuckers running around like chickens with their heads cut off. Don't know what's happening, but at least you have people out here who getting into the mud. And according to journalism, that's what they're really doing. They're not being led off by bias thinking, by political bias and all this other shit. They going for truth. They going for exposing shit. And it seems like after that shit happened, where with the that dude Jordan Tristan Walker and the revelations he revealed about Pfizer and all the shit they've been doing. It's like all this stuff been coming out, you know, trying to demonize James O'Keefe. And it's been going on for a minute because he has broken some stories on a lot of shit. And it's like, get the fuck out of here, man. You you know, he gets demonized for exposing shit, while these motherfucking liars and these hypocrites and these motherfuckers literally stealing from everybody, literally stealing your money from the money you work and save, literally supporting criminal banking enterprises and systems, literally supporting the criminal Federal Reserve banking system, literally supporting the criminal military industrial system, all that, and not one peep. You have a few little shallow shots being fired from people across the aisle that want to try to bury somebody and make it seem like they shooting a point out, like they did with Maxine Waters. Talking about which, and that was one of the Republican reps going in about her and her statements, talking about she's socialism, which they made her look stupid. It made her embarrassed her ass, really. But it's still what have the person that was doing the questioning or doing the exposing or whatever, what the fuck have y'all been doing as well? Why the fuck do Republicans always have a say so about certain shit when it comes to socialism? But why do y'all always want war? Why do y'all always vote for war even when y'all know that shit ain't in the best interest of the people? And the Democrats, why do y'all vote for shit that doesn't benefit people, but yet it benefits these industries, whether it be pharmaceutical or anything? That's why it's surprising to see those Republican reps speak out about Pfizer in the light of that whole exposure of Pfizer and that guy, Mr. Walker. That was just surprising. That was surprising to see that. But the thing about it is when they try and link it to, well, we always been speaking that shit since day one. It's like the thing with me is like, I guarantee you when you look at their portfolios, though, I guarantee you, majority of these politicians got stocks, got investments in the same companies that are that have been influencing them, have been influencing the media, have been influencing this, our so-called public officials toward negative means. And the peasants, the people who will sit around here and get crumbs off the table that they give a motherfucker, then they claim that all this is the other sides and all this other stuff. Then the claim is that we have to do more, people have to do more, people have to work harder, people have to be sacrifice more. And it's like, God damn, when are people gonna understand that a lot of people have sacrificed to the utmost, and that was people who actually fought and died for principles that this country supposedly represented. And they didn't matter whether they fought in these whatever conflict it may have been, a war over over the years. All of them had lies, all of them had some type of deception involved in it, but yet these people fought and they gave the ultimate sacrifice, their life. And I would think that a lot of them would be kind of disappointed in the route that politics, all this, even the military industrial complex has taken in this day and time. Those who served, those who actually passed away on battlefields, those that were killed on battlefields, those that were POWs and passed away in that, people that put their life on the line for a cause that they were told was right, and they see the condition of this shit now. I don't even think they would be supportive of this. And it's like a disservice to all, man. It's like people put so much, they sacrifice so much. You've been told to do this. You've been manipulated to do that. You do all this, and look what you get out of it. Higher bills, higher food prices. If you can find what you're looking for, no accountability for those who do stuff, and they do it in a manner that is shady. It may cost people their life. It may cost people their well-being. It may cost people their mental stability, physical. I don't know. Just a lot of sad stories out here. I've been hearing them from the local to the national. So a lot of people have sacrificed so much, and a lot of people have sacrificed blindly. And it's like into something that, this is what we must do, or and you get nothing in return. Everything has been made into a fucking game at the expense of human beings, not only here but everywhere across the planet, and it's ridiculous. It's like, man, come on, man, it's a time out for a lot of this nonsense, and time to really look at what could be some of the ulterior motives of a lot of the stuff that's happening. Nobody wants to. Only few more I see people, and I talk with people, and I see people putting up videos and all. You see the concern in a lot of people, and it's like the majority is like a majority just keep pushing for this stuff, man, for this destructive mentality that it's not bringing nobody any good. You could scream to the top of your lungs from different segments of society. If you're black, you can scream from the top of your lungs about white supremacy and this and that. And in the end, what does that have to do with the rate that this country has fallen and the stuff that you have to experience and what your children are going to be left with? If you're white, what does entitlement and all of the patriotic and if you don't like this country, you can go somewhere. What does that have to do with anything? What is that going to help prices go down? Is that going to help the next generations as well? Mexican American, if you're Christian in this country, if you're Muslim in this country, what is pushing your ideology on others or demeaning and judging others? All this stuff going to do when in the face of so much circumstances? What is that going to do? I literally trying to sit up here and figure that out. People cast judgments like they cast bets. And it's like everybody's in a judgmental state. But I know I suffer from that as well. And I had to pull myself back and be like, I never know what that person may be going through. Never know what circumstances anyone may be going through. What may have been told to you and what may not have been told. So you never really know. So I try to have a reserve on judgment. But you in this society, judgment, and that's all you hear. And when at the end of the day, when people get done judging people, complaining about, well, people don't want to work, they want free rides and all this stuff, and you never know what everybody's going through. You never know if that's the case with everybody. Maybe the case with some, it's not the case with everybody. Then you have those saying, pushing for, well, they need to do this, they need to do that. I want everything coming from me. I want reparations. I want that. And, you never know the circumstances that can lead up to that or where that may hit somewhere else and take from somebody else, because the rob from Peter to pay Paul, mentality has always been the mentality that this wicked government has ran with, and other governments. That's what the banks do. That's what fractional reserve banking is all about. Rob Peter to pay Paul. But people accept that. You don't want to accept things in the small venues, but then you accept the bigger things in the big venues that really have a total impact and total uh, uh, has a big part on your everyday life, and that's nonsensical to me as well. Makes no sense. But as you see, I just pulled it up on Drudge Report so you can see some of the stories um, that are going. Of course, AI and all those things. You know, you got that Chat GP. I don't care about none of that stuff. I don't really get into none of that. So I don't use it. I have a Alexa joint. I don't even use that crap. I don't barely use that outside of YouTube. Um, being able to use um, the internet to do research, to look up stuff, whatever. That's about it. I could care less about all the TikTok, all that crap, all that garbage. I respect it for the manner that it can be used to send nuggets of information, jewels, knowledge. But a lot of this stuff is really being used to just spread more ignorance, more silliness that has nothing to do with the state of affairs we are currently facing, and it will only tend to continue to keep the divide more and more apparent between people, especially in this country. Uh, and and it's sad. It is sad. It is sad. Let me see what. Let me go to this. Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. My heart goes out to Turkey and Syria, man. And it makes you wonder. It makes you look at things in a way. You know, over these past couple of years, it's been nothing but death, and that's why I be trying to get people to understand. And this is something took me a minute to see. This is a death culture we are in. Everything is based on death. Everything based on death. It's a death culture. I looked at it being here in Detroit. I looked at them tout about a $2 million or 2 point something million billion or however dollar plan for an area in the city, which would include hospitals and all that shit. And it's like because that's all they want is death. These hospitals ain't gonna cure you. They may help some people and may destroy others. I know I can speak on that because damn near everybody I've seen going to hospitals compared to the ones come out, it's a sad story. And when you think about the health industry, you think about the medical industry, they don't really want people to be cured. They don't want people to be healed of their, because if they did, they would speak on things. They would teach people in schools. They would teach people in these institutions. They would teach about those things that would literally help aid healing. They would teach people how to think positive. They would teach people how to work in harmony with one another. Because actually, when you in a stress state, when you in a confused state, when you in an anger state and all this, that help elevate uh, disease and affliction. If that was the case, if they really cared about people's health and all that stuff, then they would promote that shit. They don't. You see what they promote every day on the airways. Even in the city, in the local areas, in the city of Detroit, airways, the first 5 stories is so and so got killed. This 2 people gunned down, carjacking, 5 people robbed. That's the whole narrative they want you to just suck up. And it's like, should be obvious and evident by now that they don't want people to be in a safe space. They don't want people to be in a peaceful state. And that affects people's health as well. It's sad. And little stuff like this, like UN aid convoys enter Syria as told from Turkey, Syria quake. So now I guess UN have now started to go in Syria, and you'll have people dumbing down stuff. And like I said, people don't know what they be putting out in the universe. Eventually it'll come back around. I'll be saying a lot of stuff that be happening. It could be manipulated. It could be stuff that is being intentionally done. It can also be stuff that's just coming back on not only individuals but the collective. And it's like, I don't want to be a part of that collective. I want to be a part of that. Don't not include me in that shit. You know, and that's people had to take it upon themselves individually to stand on principles like that, where you say, not in my name, man. Don't use my name. I don't agree with none of that shit. A person agree with truth, but that truth encompasses all. Doesn't it's not limited to one group, one faction, one tribe, one religion, one race, one country. Doesn't that's not the case. One state truth is not relegated to just one's own personal because there's a lot of stuff, you know, and that includes me. It's a lot of stuff that could be truth that a motherfucker will not acknowledge. So, you know, as a person continues to gain insight and knowledge through information and stuff, you know, that changes. But I mean, the reality of it is we all need to be in some way, shape, fashion, or form seeking truth in this world. And like Yahshua said, what? Truth set you free. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. Everybody think that truth is just relegated to themselves and nobody else deserves any truth. And a lot of time that truth is distorted. It pushes people egos up like they got it, like they know it all and they got it. They can tell you what to do, and they responsible for destroying the whole planet, destroying the country, destroying the city, destroying the state, destroying the community. It's crazy, man. It's sad. It is sad. So I just want to get on here and share that about this whole ordeal with that could be leading to more things to come down the pipeline, which is we in an unsustainable situation across this country and the world. Is it only people that really are not being affected are those that really are sitting in the seat of supposed power. Even some of these people, their minions, are being touched by what's going on. And I think that's the perfect word. A lot of these folks just minions. They doing the work of other motherfuckers that they know is there. We may not. And there's some of us who have intuitive intuition or have information or whatever. And it's completely heartbreaking and sad to see what's going on. So, you know, my faith is in that everything will be revealed for what it is. Faith is also in God, the supreme being, creator of all. You know, that source. Faith is in God, and that godly people will do what's right. Not those that say they godly, and not those that claim they godly and talk crap about other people and want to judge and all that stuff, because it doesn't matter. All of us are works in process, works in progress. And you know, I guess when you focus on that, when you have trust in God and that everything will work out for those who continue to put those principles forward in their everyday life, despite all of the rhetoric, despite all of the division and all the aspects to get you to think this way and act this way toward people and this, that, and throw your trust in the systems that are completely working against you and all this. We got to understand that, man. This is what's going on. Everybody talking about stuff is collapsing and crashing. You know, I've been saying this for a minute. It's like, so if eventually when it do crash or collapse, you know, what's the next move? It would be, in, you know, that's the difficult part, the realization of that. But it would be quite a different way to handle it if everybody was more in tune. Everybody was like, well, look here, you know, we do need to work together to try and you know, I got grandkids, I got children, I got great grandkids. It's like the world that they're gonna inherit. What the fuck? They just gonna be mindless drones running around here being told what to do. And it's like, get the hell out of here, man. Nobody should be one that, man. Nobody should be one that. Nobody should be wanting a world that we're in right now to continue for children, grandchildren, the next generations to come. And let alone sit around and judging and blaming people for what they're doing. Yeah, some people may have not done the right thing in parenting or whatever. Who are you to judge? The children still being all children still being attacked by some of this weird so-called beneficial stuff that they're doing in the schools and in education and all this stuff. Some may look at it as being something to help. I only see it as other talking points to gaslight and stuff to keep people divided. It's a place and a time for everything, and these situations that we're dealing with, they're just saying fuck it. We don't care if it's a place and time to do certain things. Just do that shit now. This the place and time, regardless what happens behind it, and that's unfortunate. So that's one of the biggest things. The biggest thing is just for people to understand that it's more. I even see this stuff on the banking shit, people losing money and all this stuff. And it's like, how do you not become more concerned with the stability in this world, especially in this country? The people that's acting like the military is A1 right now, and you know, you got all these, you still got missing people, you still got the ranks are not filled to the positions that they should be in, and distrust amongst military people because of all of the policies that have been implemented that then kind of taken the seriousness out of it. And it's like, man, how can you expect shit to get better for your children or your great grandkids or the next generations all over the planet, man? I don't see it. But here, the sad thing about it, at least every other places they are doing what they do, man. And it's just here, it's like more people are just caught up in their tribes and the arguments that their tribes have to bring to the table, and the hell with everybody else. And all that stuff was taught from the top down. So we see it from the politics side of it all the way down. But my biggest thing before I close out, I can't understand how these folks could sit here and tell all that garbage stuff through Biden. And people can sit up here and say what they want. I don't even believe that. That is a real person. I mean, you got this senior citizen dude sitting up here talking about the what is not going on that people actually see is going on. It's like double talk, double speak every day, all night with this government, with these institutions. It's always been like that. When will people see that for what it is? See, those people don't have to worry about that. They don't have to worry about bills being late and coming due and all that shit because they stealing money from everybody. They getting paid off of their little lucrative deals and who they work around with and do this. They don't have to worry about that. It's their constituents and the people that look up to them that has to deal with that. And their constituents fighting amongst one another and the opposite side, like these folks really doing something. And my thing is like, look at everything that's happening. It's like, do you actually think these folks would give a damn? And I literally believe this. Let's say if something terrible would happen, and I mentioned this before, these folks would literally go hide out in their bunkers, in their taxpayer bunkers, in their taxpayer um, uh, safe rooms, taxpayer uh, places, maybe in underground, maybe off the planet somewhere. Never know. You don't know what these folks been doing with all the money that has been coming up missing and they steal, they take from people's bank accounts all over the planet. And you never know what the fuck they could be doing. And then all of a sudden shit happened. And these folks could go run in because they was all about themselves when they took these oaths, when they took these pacts and all this stuff. They take these trips. It's like all these high so-called powered people that were dealing with Epstein and taking these trips to Epstein Island and all that stuff. So if they were doing it for that, they could be done in all the other aspects. Oh no, that can't be. Nobody couldn't be that. Whatever. The way I look at it, these folks just murdered a lot of people through the COVID deal. Now all that stuff is coming to a head because people seeing now these folks lied about a lot of stuff to make money. Pfizer lying about a lot of stuff. People have took these shots, were forced to take them in some instances. Families were broken up because of this stuff. People were forced to take the shot, lose their jobs, and all this stuff. So there's a lot of consequences, a lot of ramifications involved. It's like people don't want to sit back and understand that may be on the horizon. That all this lying and all that stuff that they've been doing is coming to a head. And these folks will literally, if tragic stuff happened, they would literally dodge and flee and get somewhere where they know they can be safe and everybody else had to deal with it. And I'm telling you, I actually think in history, that's what's been going on. A lot of times, and not to saying that it hasn't been no influence from other stuff. I do believe there's other life out here and all that. But I do also believe that over time, and as history, the things in history that don't make sense, that people study it and they come out with it and they put it out here, and the information is out here. When you look at it, it just seems like certain time periods, like shit just happened, calamities came, people were wiped out, and then all of a sudden, people stepped back on the scene and had the means to start another society and repeat that same shit. And then people get wiped out again. It's almost like it seems like that's what's going on right now. It's depopulation and land management happening all over the planet. That's what I look at it. These are my opinions, because you see all the fight for land, you see the desperation that's being going on. Also, you see the depopulation agendas in plain sight. The biggest depopulation tool is fear and division, which leads to anger and of course aggression, and of course, people killing one another, which is number one part of the depopulation. Look how many people that have just died from gun violence and all this other stuff, due to, physical altercations or the arguments and all this silly shit. And so you're in a time where me personally, I can't see how anybody could trust any of these officials until they start opening up their mouths on stuff that totally does not make sense. Until they do that, then how can you ever trust any of them? How can you ever expect them to be there for you? And in my aspects, before I finish, in it, like I was saying in history, I actually think that, like, if something, for example, if an asteroid was to hit this planet, I wouldn't even think they would tell everybody. You would just be feeling the the stuff that's would happen in accord with objects in near Earth, the stuff that would affect the atmosphere and the electromagnetic grids and all that other, the stuff that would happen. Yeah, you would feel all that and wouldn't even know what's going on. Asteroid hit, calamity and all this stuff, and then you'll have no one to see. All the so-called leaders, they gone. They somewhere in tax paid prepared bunkers, popping Moscato and all this other shit. Got their families in there, who they wanted to spare or whatever. And then everybody else on their own out here. And you know what comes behind that, the dystopian outlook, like Mad Max or some shit. Everybody fighting and over shit, and then those that's left, all of a sudden you have motherfuckers that come out of nowhere with technology that is good, that is needed, and then people look at them and, oh shit, they superior, they got it, and then there you go, and start this whole process again with a wicked system taking advantage of those they claim are up under them or inferior, because they have literally held all of the information and knowledge and technologies that really are needed, and they held that shit and kept it, profited off of the bullshit parts of it, and then destroyed the planet or destroy areas or then come out and act like they ain't have nothing to do with the shit. They weren't a part of it. They weren't part of the deception, the grand deception. That's how I look at shit. I mean, forgive me for rambling, but it just, in the state of this world, you have to look at things in different perspectives. That's how I see it. So in a state like that, I don't put no trust in none of these folks. I'm not saying there are some who, that would be the time in which the best of people come out. Really, to be honest. And the worst, because the worst when you see people actually not around no more. Like, where do they go? Oh, they gone. They dipped into a bunker somewhere. What? What? Everybody else out here had to deal with it, especially when they pushing for wars, causing all this instability in the world. Everything is dealing with nuclear now. So you got all these nuclear countries. Like, any day, at the way they playing, like, any day it could be it. I mean, that's the reality of it. And if that's the case, then you'll have people who caught up in that shit because of other people, because of other people's decisions, because of other people's hatreds and animosities, greed, agendas, all that stuff. And you'll have people out of here because, hey, I ain't have nothing to do with none of that. Why the fuck all this stuff? And people got to think on that level, like, what the fuck? But yeah, it is what it is. I just pray that people gain a higher way of looking at stuff. I'm not no fucking saint now. Well, and I ain't trying to be one. I'm being what the creator wants me to be. And whether a person can accept it or not, that's on them. But at that time, at the same time, there's growth, there's move, you grow, you began to evolve, that's the whole purpose of life. You can't be stuck in the same shit over and over, especially stuff that's really not doing anything to benefit not only you, but anybody around you. So with that, I'm gonna get up out of here. I just wanted to share that. It's like a little light rant, the reality of where we at in this world. And I just like to send everybody peace, love, and pray for brighter days, and that this darkness that has incapacitated the planet that it continues to be destroyed by the light of truth and the revelations of many things that have been kept hidden, the revelations of things that have been distorted. All these things continue to come to the light. That people had the opportunity to think for themselves and not for somebody else's agenda and pocketbooks, and think for themselves and not thinking in terms of lining the pockets of these wicked people, including here in this government. Wicked people who have sold their soul, have sold everybody out. While you yawning and stepping on each side of the fence, talking all this stuff, they have sold everybody out. And it's important to know this. I don't care what, whatever. These folks are not thinking in concern in a all they're thinking about is getting reelected, holding their spot, holding their position, what money they could could attain from that, or what finances they could get out of it. That's all they're thinking about. The majority of these folks, is all they're thinking about. Because if it wasn't like that, then all of the shit that you see going on in this country, from the homelessness to the everybody is not homeless because they wanted to be. Everybody is not struggling because they wanted to be. Everybody is not experiencing hardship because that's what they wanted to experience. So people continue to come with those. You better be careful when you judge and you put stuff out there, because that stuff will be weighed against everybody. It comes back on you, and it may come back at a time when it could be devastating, and you don't want that to happen. So with that, I greet each and every one with peace, praying that you have a blessed day and continue to move forward and in truth.